Picture this: two people with identical dreams, identical circumstances, identical opportunities. One achieves everything they've ever wanted, whilst the other remains stuck, wondering what went wrong. What separates them isn't brilliance, isn't luck, isn't even natural talent. It's something far simpler, yet infinitely more powerful: consistency. You see, we've been sold a lie about success. We've been told it's about those eureka moments, those grand gestures, those once-in-a-lifetime bursts of inspiration. But here's the truth that nobody talks about: success is actually rather boring. It's showing up when you don't fancy it. It's doing the work when nobody's watching. It's choosing progress over perfection, day after day after day. Consider this scenario: two people decide to master English. The first person dedicates 10 minutes each morning to practice, religiously, without fail. The second person, feeling rather ambitious, blocks out 5 hours on a Saturday once a month for an intensive study session. Who do you reckon will be chatting away confidently in English first? The answer might surprise you if you're thinking like most people do. That first person, with their modest 10 minutes daily, will clock up 5 hours of practice in just 1 month. In a year, they'll have accumulated over 60 hours of focused learning. Meanwhile, our weekend warrior manages just 24 hours annually, and worse still, spends most of each session trying to remember what they learned the month before. This isn't just about language learning, mind you. This principle applies to virtually everything worthwhile in life. Whether you're trying to get fit, learn a musical instrument, build a business, or master any skill under the sun, consistency trumps intensity every single time. Today, we're going to explore why this seemingly simple concept is so devastatingly effective, what makes it so bloody difficult to maintain, and most importantly, how you can harness its power to transform your life. By the end, you'll have a practical blueprint for staying consistent when everyone else gives up. So what exactly is consistency? At its heart, consistency is the art of showing up repeatedly, regardless of how you feel. It's the commitment to take action even when motivation has done a runner. Rather than sporadic bursts of effort, consistency means creating a rhythm of progress that becomes as natural as breathing. Think of it like tending a garden. You wouldn't water your plants once a month and expect a flourishing garden, would you? Plants need daily attention, regular care, and consistent nurturing. Your goals are no different. They require the same gentle, persistent attention to grow into something magnificent. The magic happens in the mundane moments. When you choose to practice for 10 minutes instead of scrolling through social media, when you opt for a healthy meal instead of takeaway, when you write one paragraph instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, you're not just taking action. You're literally rewiring your brain. Here's where it gets fascinating from a scientific perspective. Every time you repeat an action, you're strengthening neural pathways in your brain. It's called neuroplasticity, and it's your brain's remarkable ability to adapt and change. These billions of neurons, these tiny connections in your head, they are constantly forming new pathways and strengthening existing ones based on what you do repeatedly. Imagine walking through an overgrown field. The first time, you have to push through branches, step over logs, and create your own path. It's exhausting. But if you walk the same route every day, something wonderful happens. The path becomes clearer, easier to follow, until eventually, you could walk it with your eyes closed. That's exactly what happens in your brain when you practice consistency. When you first start learning something new, your brain works overtime. Take riding a bicycle, for instance. Initially, you're consciously thinking about balance, pedaling, steering, looking ahead, all simultaneously. It feels impossible. But through repetition, these separate actions merge into one fluid movement that becomes completely automatic. The same principle applies to language learning, playing piano, or building any habit. The more consistently you practice, the stronger those neural pathways become, until what once required enormous effort becomes effortless. This brings us to one of the most powerful concepts in personal development, the compound effect. Small improvements, when compounded over time, create extraordinary results. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering more snow with each rotation until it becomes an unstoppable force. Consider saving just £1 every day. It seems insignificant, doesn't it? But after a year, you'd have £365. After a decade, £3,650. Now imagine if that money earned interest. The compound effect doesn't just apply to money, it applies to everything. If you learn just one new English word each day, you'll know 365 new words by year's end. That might not sound impressive until you realize that knowing just 1,000 words allows you to understand about 75% of most texts. In 5 years, you'd have learned 1,825 words, more than enough for fluent conversation. The brilliant thing about the compound effect is that it works even when you can't see it. Success rarely announces itself with fanfare. Instead, it creeps up on you through the accumulation of countless small actions. One day, you suddenly realize you understand that English podcast perfectly, or you've completed a 5K run without getting winded, or you've written a novel one page at a time. Let's look at real-world examples of this principle in action. Elite athletes don't become champions overnight. They practice when it's raining, when they're tired, when they'd rather be doing anything else. A footballer who practices penalties for 15 minutes daily will dramatically outperform someone who practices for 3 hours once a month. Business moguls like Richard Branson didn't build Virgin overnight. They worked on their vision every single day, making incremental improvements, learning from failures, and staying committed when others would have given up. Their success came from persistent daily action, not sporadic bursts of inspiration. The same pattern emerges everywhere you look. Authors write bestsellers one page at a time. Marathon runners build endurance one step at a time. Master chefs perfect their craft one dish at a time. The secret ingredient is always the same: showing up consistently, regardless of external circumstances. But here's where it gets tricky. Staying consistent sounds simple in theory, but in practice, it's one of the most challenging things we can attempt. Why? Because our brains are wired for immediate gratification, but consistency requires delayed gratification. We live in an instant world. We can order food with a tap, stream any film immediately, and get answers to any question within seconds. But meaningful change doesn't work that way. It requires patience, persistence, and faith in a process that often seems invisible. One of the biggest obstacles is our relationship with motivation. Most people treat motivation like fuel for their car, thinking they need it to go anywhere. But motivation is more like the weather, unpredictable and completely outside your control. Some days it's sunny and beautiful, other days it's gray and drizzly. Successful people understand this fundamental truth: discipline beats motivation every time. Discipline is showing up regardless of how you feel. It's doing what needs to be done whether you fancy it or not. It's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Professional writers don't wait for inspiration. They write because it's Tuesday morning and that's when they write. Professional athletes don't train only when they feel energetic. They train because their schedule says it's training time. They've learned to separate their feelings from their actions. Another major challenge is the modern world's assault on our attention. We're bombarded with distractions, notifications, and endless entertainment options. Social media algorithms are specifically designed to be addictive, to pull your attention away from whatever you're trying to focus on. Then there are the excuses. Oh, the creative excuses we tell ourselves. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start on Monday. I need to research more first. The timing isn't quite right. But here's the uncomfortable truth: there will never be perfect timing. There will always be reasons to delay. The people who achieve their goals have the same 24 hours as everyone else. They face the same distractions, the same tiredness, the same busy schedules. The difference is they've learned to start before they feel ready, to act despite imperfect circumstances, to prioritize their goals over their comfort. Perhaps the most challenging aspect of consistency is that results often seem invisible at first. When you're trying to learn a language, get fit, or build a business, progress can feel painfully slow. You might practice English for weeks without feeling noticeably more fluent. You might exercise daily without seeing dramatic physical changes. This is where most people give up, just before the breakthrough. But here's what's actually happening during those seemingly fruitless periods: you're laying the foundation. Every practice session, every workout, every small action is contributing to a base of knowledge and skill that will eventually become visible. It's like filling a bucket one drop at a time. For ages, nothing seems to happen, and then suddenly, the bucket overflows. So how do you overcome these challenges and build genuine consistency? The answer lies in working with your psychology, not against it. First, start embarrassingly small. Most people fail at consistency because they attempt too much too quickly. They decide to exercise for 2 hours daily, study for 3 hours, or completely overhaul their diet overnight. This approach is almost guaranteed to fail because it requires massive willpower, and willpower is a finite resource. Instead, make your initial commitment so small it feels almost silly not to do it. Want to start exercising? Commit to just 2 minutes of movements daily. Want to read more? Read just 1 page. Want to practice English? Speak just 1 sentence aloud each day. This might seem ridiculously modest, but there's genius in this approach. Once you start, you often continue beyond your minimum commitment. But even if you don't, you're building the habit of showing up. And that's the most important part. Next, create environmental cues that support your habit. Your environment is more powerful than your willpower. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow so you see it when you go to bed. If you want to practice guitar, leave the guitar out where you'll see it, not hidden in a case. Remove obstacles that make your desired behavior harder. If your running shoes are buried in a cupboard, you're less likely to go for a run. If your study materials are scattered around the house, you're less likely to practice. Make the right choice the easy choice. Timing is crucial as well. Attach your new habit to something you already do consistently. This is called habit stacking. If you drink coffee every morning, practice English vocabulary whilst the kettle boils. If you brush your teeth every night, do 2 minutes of stretching afterwards. By linking new habits to established routines, you're more likely to remember and maintain them. Accountability is another powerful tool. When you know someone is expecting you to show up, you're far more likely to follow through. This could be a workout partner, a language exchange buddy, or simply a friend who checks in on your progress. There's something magical about having to report your efforts to someone else. It transforms a private struggle into a shared commitment. You're not just letting yourself down if you skip, you're letting down someone who believes in you. Tracking your progress is equally important. What gets measured gets managed. Keep a simple record of your daily actions. This doesn't need to be elaborate. A simple tick on a calendar will do. Seeing a chain of successful days creates momentum and motivates you to keep the streak alive. The visual feedback is powerful. On days when you don't feel like practicing, you can look at your tracking sheet and see concrete evidence of your progress. It reminds you that you're not starting from scratch, you're building on a foundation you've already created. But perhaps the most important element is patience. Success is not a destination you arrive at, it's a direction you travel in. Every day you choose consistency over comfort, progress over perfection, you're heading in the right direction. The results will come, but they'll come in their own time, not yours. Think of consistency as compound interest for your personal development. Each day's effort might seem small, but it's earning interest on all the previous day's work. The payoff might not be immediate, but when it arrives, it's often far greater than you initially imagined. Here's a simple 3-step formula to implement consistency in your life, starting today. First, choose one area where you want to see improvement. Just one. Resist the urge to transform everything simultaneously. Whether it's learning English, getting fitter, or building a business, pick one priority. Second, identify the smallest possible action you could take daily in that area. What's something so easy you could do it even on your worst days? If you want to learn English, maybe it's learning one new word. If you want to get fit, maybe it's doing 5 push-ups. If you want to write a book, maybe it's writing 1 sentence. Third, commit to this small action for the next 30 days. Put it in your calendar. Set a phone reminder. Tell someone about your commitment. Make it as easy as possible to succeed and as hard as possible to forget. After 30 days, if this small action has become automatic, you can gradually increase it. But only then. The goal isn't to do something impressive, it's to build an unbreakable habit of showing up. Remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you're tired, days when life gets in the way. That's fine. The goal isn't to never miss a day, it's to get back on track as quickly as possible when you do. If you miss one day, that's a mistake. If you miss 2 days, that's a choice. Don't let a mistake become a choice. One missed day doesn't ruin everything, it's just data to learn from. As we reach the end of our exploration, remember this: consistency is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, and it won't get you likes on social media. But it will transform your life in ways that dramatic gestures never could. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a disaster. The only difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the willingness to show up consistently, especially when they don't feel like it. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for motivation to strike. Stop waiting for conditions to be ideal. They never will be. The perfect time is now, even if now feels imperfect. Choose your one priority. Identify your smallest possible daily action. Commit to 30 days. Start today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Right after you finish reading this, take your first small action. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. Every day you choose consistency, you're voting for the person you want to become. And if you keep voting for that person, day after day, eventually you'll become them. The power to transform your life isn't in some grand gesture or perfect plan. It's in the simple decision to show up, one day at a time. So show up. Stay consistent. And watch as your life slowly, steadily, surely transforms into something extraordinary. Because that's what consistency does. It doesn't create miracles. It creates a life so remarkable it looks like a miracle to everyone else. Your remarkable life is waiting. It's just one consistent day away.